I'm Worldwide Nate, and welcome to our Discovering West Africa adventure. 18 years ago, a mentor challenged me to travel the world. Since then, I visited over 70 countries and 6 continents. Then, 5 years ago, I learned that I have West African ancestry, and I've been wanting to return to discover West Africa's present and past to understand and connect with my ancestry ever since. So get ready to explore new stories about West Africa's often misunderstood history with me as we explore my DNA in 3 amazing countries: Ghana on the equator, Senegal on the Atlantic Ocean, and Cameroon on the borders of Central Africa. And with the help from incredible experts and citizens, we'll learn how each West African country has a rich past that helps shape our global society. And we'll celebrate the current contributions their artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs are making to help create a promising future for our world. Discovering West Africa with Worldwide Nate starts now. We begin our adventure in Ghana, the first West African country to earn its independence in 1957. Easy to reach from the US and Europe, Ghana's roughly in the middle of West Africa, and it's about 40% larger than Florida, with more people than Texas. English is also the official language for the country and its capital, Accra. And Ghana has a coastline off of the Atlantic Ocean that stretches for about 350 miles, about the same as the coast of Texas. Our first stop is Labadi Beach. Located in Accra, it's locally known as La Pleasure Beach, and it's one of the first places you'll want to visit to discover something I wasn't expecting. That's right, horses. When I learned to ride horses as a kid growing up in Chicago, cowboys didn't look like me. So I was excited to learn that horseback riding and horse racing have been popular in Ghana for more than a century. And these young men are continuing Ghana's equestrian tradition by performing and offering rides for tourists.
What's up, man?
Cool.
How you doing?
I'm cool.
You know, I was doing research and I heard about the horse boys. Are you a horse boy?
Yeah, I'm a horse boy.
Osa shared with me that he has won championships with his horse. And you know I had to ask him to hop in on the saddle.
Nice. Yeah, I like this. Let me go this way.
Picking up speed, I felt like I was racing in the Kentucky Derby. Scratch that. I felt more like a true Ghanaian jockey. Up ahead, I saw that my friend Matthew Mensah had come to meet me.
Wow.
What's up, man?
You couldn't just come walking, could you?
Matthew is an official ambassador of Ghana. He worked with the government for over a decade. And after I told him I learned I was 13% Ghanaian from a general DNA test, he offered to take me to the Black Star Monument, which was constructed by Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, and dedicated to Pan-African leader Marcus Garvey, a hero of mine.
Matt, I feel like a special guest for real. To be up here and have this 360-degree view of the city is incredible. You know, I always seen the Black Star throughout hip-hop, images of Ghana, etc. So, you know, why did President Nkrumah decide to put the Black Star in the flag?
The Black Star itself is really like a symbol that we adopted from Marcus Garvey. You know, he had this shipping liner that was operating from 1990 to 1921. It was called the Black Star liner, you know. So that's where we got the Black Star from.
So what was the significance of Nkrumah erecting this monument to represent Ghana's independence?
It is such an important part of our history, of course. You know, Ghana being the first country on the continent that had independence. You know, something that Nkrumah was really the first one to kickstart, but also was pushing for other countries to have at that time. You know, and this was the monument that really celebrated that freedom that we enjoyed.
From the top of the monument, you can also see Independence Square where 30,000 citizens gathered to watch President Nkrumah light Ghana's flame of African liberation in 1961. It must have been an amazing moment to experience. And I was grateful to Matt for teaching me the history of Ghana's independence, because it was just the educational foundation I needed, and it inspired me to learn more about Ghana. Next, we head over to a family business that is also drawing inspiration from Ghana's independence. Sisters Kimberly and Priscilla Addison are Ghana natives and owners of 57 Chocolate, a young bean-to-bar company striving to give more well-known brands in the country a run for their money.
Legend has it that Tete Kwashi, who was a Ghanaian blacksmith, brought back these beans, and he planted his first farm in the eastern part of Ghana, which is called Mampong or Ekwapim. And so from there, other farmers saw his fruit and took the fruit and started planting seeds. And then there was a whole chain effect of Ghana growing cocoa. So it started from him.
What other indigenous ingredients do you use to produce the chocolate?
Good question. So we use moringa. So it's rich in vitamin C, it's rich in iron. It's a flavor that's common to West Africa, so we wanted to feature it. We didn't want to just do like standard chocolate that is kind of normal to the rest of the world. We wanted to use local ingredients. And then there's bisap. So bisap is a drink commonly drunk in West Africa. It's made with hibiscus flowers.
I knew bisap tasted tart like cranberries because I had it in a sports drink once, and I was skeptical it could ever taste good in chocolate. So I asked Kimberly to take me inside her factory to show me how she makes the magic happen.
So you're gonna take these beans,
All right.
and you're going to pour them into here.
Kimberly took me through her entire process to make 57 Chocolate. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot of work. But I was impressed by Kimberly's ingenuity and how she managed her young staff.
Tell me about the name. Why did you choose 57 Chocolate? What's the backstory?
So 57 Chocolate is short for 1957, which is Ghana's independence year. And obviously, in 1957, Ghana was free from colonial power. In the 1957 era, there was this can-do spirit of, as Africans, as Ghanaians, we should be self-sufficient. We should be producing and manufacturing with our own resources,
Right.
and become economically independent. And so that's what 57 is about. It's about, hey, saying, let's take our resources, starting with cocoa, and transform it into a finished good, add value to it. And we want to bring manufacturing back to Ghana, and we want to inspire young people to see what we have and not just sell it in its raw form, but to use their creativity, their minds to produce something of value with it. You just have to measure it, 10 grams.
Okay. Each one?
Yeah, each one.
Okay. So the past has inspired your present. So then what's the future? What are your goals in the future? 57 Chocolate.
So the goals in the future are to basically have a larger factory, which is probably situated in our own cocoa farm. So instead of being bean to bar, we would be tree to bar. So we would also get into, we would also get into the farming aspect of it.
Kimberly also shared that she plans to start an academy to train future chocolatiers. And after going through her chocolatier boot camp, that excites me. Because you never know. Someone out in the world could be enjoying a luxury chocolate bar made in Africa, packaged by yours truly. My visit to 57 Chocolate got my wheels spinning. Not only are Kimberly and Priscilla rewriting the narrative of Ghana's present, but they're also celebrating Ghana's amazing history. And if they could do that with food, what were other entrepreneurs doing in fashion? Next, we connect with two luxury brand designers in Accra who are reimagining a traditional garment for Ghana's Made in Africa movement. A kaftan resembles a traditional pullover robe or tunic, and its origins date back to ancient Asia. Today, traditional designer Sekou Coulibaly and contemporary designer Kwaku Bediako are remixing the kaftan by making matching pants to create dope luxury suits. So I couldn't resist having something made for myself, and I couldn't wait to see what they came up with for me. And I connected with beauty fashion veteran Sekou at his private design studio first.
I know that Made in Africa movement is important to you, but tell me why it's important.
Manufacturing in Africa is not only critical because it creates jobs, it alleviates poverty, but it's also important because it makes Africans understand that they can do the best quality, deliver the best luxury, and it also inspires the world to believe that Africa has nothing less to offer than the rest of the world. To do a luxury brand, you need heritage, you need history, and then you need quality, perfection of design, perfection of sewing. And so that is basically the pressure that we put on ourselves to be able to deliver the best clothes. I'm really happy that we're building bridges together because we need people from different continents to be able to expose our Made in Africa to the world.
Next, I headed over to Accra's Kempinski Hotel Gold Coast to link up with Kwaku, who has dressed celebrities like Steve Harvey, Jack Dorsey, and Cardi B. And he shared with me why he launched his company to create a unique lane in Ghana's Made in Africa movement.
When we first started, the problem we wanted to solve was how do we build a luxury brand out of this culture? And then how do we get us to appreciate us for the world to also appreciate us? So that essentially is what chocolate is. So that beacon of hope for Africa.
So what was the turning point where you realized that people were starting to look inward to get luxury products in Africa instead of outward to like other countries or continents?
Very interesting. So out here in Africa, we pay specific attention to ceremonial events. We went straight into that sphere. We realized that, yes, there was a lot of cloth that was being worn, but how then do we build a local aesthetic that the world can actually understand? Like, you know what, I like this. And I like it not just because it's African, I like it because it's different.
Man, how do you feel, bro? Man, I feel like a one-of-one right now. This is incredible.
Without a mother, how many children go to their fathers? Before they go to their father, they come to the mother to plead on their behalf. And so this is what happens if you are a queen mother. When the chief isn't around, the queen mother acts as a father at the same time as the mother, but mainly we take care of the women affairs.
In the central region of Ghana, Queen Mother Nina, a Pan-Africanist from LA, is also advocating for women and children in the Akomfi district, one of the 22 districts in the central region. And she shared a uniquely different perspective with me as an American-born queen mother.
I am one of the lost tribe of Africa.
Hey.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, wow. Chocolates you shouldn't have.
Well, it's the best 57 chocolate, so, I wanted to, meet you and have a gift to show my appreciation for taking time to talk to me. I want to know about you and your upbringing. What was your life like growing up?
Well, I grew up in South Los Angeles, South LA, and I didn't really know too much about my roots other than Roots, the movie Roots, that we came from slaves. That's what I knew about my ancestry. And it wasn't until I was in college, I went to go get my degree in theater arts, and I minored in Black studies, Black history. And I found out the truth about Africa, that we weren't just slaves and that was where our history started, but we were actually come from a great empires. 30-something years later, after promoting Pan-African culture, sharing knowledge about African culture, once I was enlightened, I became installed as a queen in Ghana.
Back in the day, the United Negro College Fund had a slogan that said, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." Well, after the Queen Mothers educated me about how Queen Mothers like them are continuing and expanding Ghana's Made in Africa movement, I didn't want to waste what they taught me. So I hopped a quick flight to Kumasi to continue my education. Kumasi is the home of the Ashanti people. They were the last to be defeated by the British, and they were the first to regain independence. Kumasi's also home to the prestigious Kwame Nkrumah University, which made me feel like I was coming full circle after visiting the Black Star Monument built by him in Accra when I first arrived. Next, we're going to learn more about the Ashanti by visiting the past home of the Asante Kingdom's king. It's now a museum, and its curator shared his knowledge with me.
The Kingdom of Asante started way back in the year 1695.
And then Asante is the biggest kingdom in Ghana, right?
You're right.
And what's the common thread that makes the Asante so powerful or so relevant in the culture?
Yes, Asante was a democratic country or nation, having its own rules and laws. They see the Asante as the head of all the chiefs under him. Anytime there was war, there was foreign aggression, they all come together and they fight the common enemy.
As Mr. Brombe shared more with me about how Ashanti chiefs and the kings mediated peace during times of war, I was a little upset I had never been taught any of this history in school.
The UN saw the role the king is playing in Ghana, especially when there was a chieftaincy issue in the northern region for about 17 years.
Wow.
And no government could solve that problem, but the king was able to solve it. So this bell is there to remind people, let's give peace a chance.
Learning the true history of the Asante Kingdom lit a fire inside of me. There's so much about Africa we've never been taught. And now that I've returned to the land of my ancestors, I'm even more determined to help fix that. Our last stop is Bonwi, the small village where Kente cloth was born. Kente cloth is a Ghanaian textile made of hand-woven cloth and strips of silk and cotton. And my guide, Eric, who runs the Kente cloth factory, shared with me the history of this amazing fabric that was originally just for African kings and their royal courts. But now, African Americans crave.
This is where we made the Kente cloth.
Now, how long have you been working here?
For over 30 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know about every single fabric.
Every single fabric and everything. Initially, it was Kente, was like the traditional colors.
Okay.
It's Kente, it is like the traditional color. But now we have introduced new colors.
Yeah.
Because in the olden days, there wasn't no purple, no pink, no blue. No. By now, we have all these colors into a Kente cloth.
Right. Now, how long does it take to make one of these?
It depends.
Okay.
Because in the Kente weaving industry, we have Kente cloth in so many categories. A single or a plain weave like this is what we mean.
Okay.
It means there is no designing. And we have also a double weave. When it's said a double weave, it has designs.
Ah.
It has a design.
Okay.
And then the last but not the least is the triple weave.
Oh, this is nice.
The triple has some intricate and classic designs.
You think you can rap me?
Yes, I will show you. I will show you how men also rap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, this is a moment. Growing up as a little black boy in Chicago, I've always dreamed about Africa, but I could only wear Kente cloth to connect with the motherland from afar. Now, I'm standing on the continent, wrapped in the amazing fabric of my ancestors, and it's a dream come true. Next, we continue to explore Accra. We'll hike Shy Hills, where the bodyguards of Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, once trained. We'll get introduced to the ancient practice of African comedic yoga. And we'll learn how tribal Ashanti drummers influenced Afro-pop, high life, and hip life music we love today.